The entire pricing lineup of Google's Pixel 10 series has just leaked in Europe, and while there's nothing wildly unexpected, it gives us a clearer picture of what to expect from Google's upcoming launch. According to reliable leaker Roland Quant, Google doesn't seem to be changing the European pricing from last year, with the base Pixel 10 starting at €899 for the 128GB model and €999 for 256GB. The Pixel 10 Pro kicks off at €1,099 and ranges all the way to €1,589 for the 1TB variant, while the larger Pixel 10 Pro XL will reportedly start at €1,299 and top out at €1,689. The foldable option, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, is unsurprisingly the priciest, starting at €1,899 and reaching €2,289 for the fully loaded 1TB version. But perhaps what caught more attention was the Pixel Buds 2a pricing now rumored to cost €149, which is a notable jump from the €99 Pixel Buds A. That's a significant increase, especially considering earphones rarely justify such a steep bump without huge improvements. Still, the main focus remains on the phones, and this leak does suggest Google is playing it safe in the European market by not bumping prices on the main lineup. But across the Atlantic, things could be more complicated. Tariff pressures in the US and shifting supply chains may push Google to adjust prices in America differently than in Europe. There's already speculation that the Pixel 10 Pro XL could become more expensive in the US, while the Pixel Fold might see a slight price drop, likely as part of a strategy to compete more directly with Samsung's Z Fold 7. If Google does raise prices again in the States, it could risk losing the competitive edge that Pixel phones have held against similarly priced iPhones and Galaxy devices. Consumers already hesitate to choose a Pixel over the more popular brands, and if pricing climbs further without major standout features, that hesitation could grow. Meanwhile, Google faces an uphill battle proving the value of its most expensive models, especially the Pro XL and Pro Fold, when even die-hard Android fans might think twice before spending nearly $2,300 on a phone. Still, if the Pixel 10 lineup brings meaningful improvements in performance, durability, camera quality, and especially AI tools powered by the next-gen Tensor chip, then it could justify its price tag for those looking beyond hardware specs. But let's not ignore how price-sensitive the smartphone market is today, especially with economic pressure on everyday buyers. A great phone is only great if people can afford to buy it, and Google knows this. That's why holding prices steady in Europe might be their smartest play, even if it means smaller margins. However, it's unclear if they'll apply the same logic in the US, where tariffs, marketing strategy, and competition with Apple and Samsung force Google to constantly adjust. At the end of the day, these price leaks aren't just numbers, they're a signal of how confident Google feels about its place in the premium market. If the Pixel 10 series wants to win over buyers, it needs to offer not just powerful specs, but better value, consistent software support, and a clear reason to pick it over more established choices. So now the question is, will these prices stick globally, or is this the calm before a price storm in the US? Either way, one thing's clear: Google's Pixel 10 pricing strategy will play a major role in determining whether this generation flops or flourishes. Could Samsung be about to change the way we think about its smartwatches again? Just days before the company's big Unpacked event on July 9th, a fresh real-life image of the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic has surfaced online, giving us one of the clearest looks at what could be the next big thing for your wrist. The image was shared on Weibo by well-known leaker Setsuna Digital, also called Instant Digital, and shows off a new design direction that's already sparking debate. For the first time, Samsung's Classic line is moving away from the traditional round shape and shifting to a new squircle design, a mix between a square and a circle. something we first saw on the Galaxy Watch Ultra. This new shape might become the standard look for all future Samsung watches, which is a bold move considering how long the company stuck with a circular design. The leaked photo shows a watch with a solid metal frame, paired with a sleek black leather band to physical buttons on the side, and what looks like the return of the iconic physical rotating bezel. That feature alone is huge news because many users were disappointed when Samsung removed it from some of its recent models. The rotating bezel isn't just for show, it's practical, giving users a tactile way to scroll through menus and settings without smudging the screen. Now, it looks like Samsung is listening to its users and bringing that classic feature back. Another interesting detail is the bezel itself, which appears thinner than before, suggesting that the screen might be larger, giving you more space to view your notifications, fitness data, or apps. While Samsung hasn't officially confirmed anything about screen size, brightness, or battery, some reports suggest that this new model could include a brighter display and improved durability. That means it might be easier to see in sunlight and tougher against scratches or drops, both features people care about in a smartwatch. But it's not just this one image that's making headlines. This leak follows a series of others, including CAD-based renders of the entire Galaxy Watch 8 series and even a listing on eBay that claimed to show a testing or retail unit. With so many consistent leaks, it seems very likely that the final product will match what we're seeing now. And if that's the case, Samsung might be planning a big design shift for all of its upcoming watches. The Watch 8 Classic could end up being the perfect balance between old-school feel and new-school look, combining the rotating bezel that longtime users love with a shape that feels more modern and maybe even more comfortable on the wrist. Still, one big question remains. Can the Watch 8 Classic stand out against the more advanced Galaxy Watch Ultra, which already made headlines with its powerful features and premium build? The answer could depend on price, battery life, measured in mAh, and how well the Watch 8 Classic delivers those rumored upgrades. We'll know more when Samsung finally reveals all the details during its Unpacked event, which is also expected to include the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Galaxy Z Flip 7, and possibly more wearables. Until then, the leaks are painting a pretty clear picture of what's coming, and it looks like Samsung is serious about refreshing its smartwatch lineup in a big way. If you're as curious as we are to see how it all turns out, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our full coverage of Samsung's next big reveal. What if your next iPhone could do more than ever without breaking a sweat? The iPhone 17 Pro Max might just be that phone. It's expected to launch in September, and if early leaks are right, Apple is planning some serious upgrades not just on the inside, but also in the way the phone looks and feels. Let's start with the camera. Instead of the usual square bump, Apple might go with a rectangular layout that stretches across the top. It's a big